In 2008, I was on a vacation in the Dominican Republic. And one day while down there, my hands just started burning and it was an excruciating pain. So when I got back to Canada and I saw my physician, I explained what I had, and they assumed that I had contracted something in the Dominican Republic. So he sent me to Toronto, Ontario to see somebody at the infectious disease clinic. And it just so happened that at that time I started to have a flare again. And instantly he realized that I hadn't contracted something down the Dominican, but I had actually developed a disease called erythromelalgia, which is also called man on fire disease. In 2016, I developed Raynaud's, which is the complete opposite of erythromelalgia because it feels like your feet and your hands, all of a sudden, sections of it will start to freeze. And it's almost like you got frostbite because it feels like when it unthaws, it's extremely painful. And I also developed lesions and severe mouth ulcers. And I was on a support group in erythromelalgia, and they suggested that I get tested for Behçet's, which I'd never heard of before, but was another vascular disease. I went to doctors, I suggested that, and immediately was told, absolutely not. It can't be Behçet's. So they sent me to different places like McMaster University, where there was a specialist who thought I had developed a familial disease because I'm Italian. So they went back into that section and tested me like crazy. It came back negative, of course. And so I learned very quickly on that I had to advocate for myself because I knew my body best. So I went back and demanded to see a specialist who would be able to help me with this. And when they actually did the testing for Behçet's, it came back as being positive. Then, after all of that, I found out that when you go to the hospital, they oftentimes do not know some of these rare diseases and will oftentimes push you off or try and Google your symptoms and say, oh, well, you know what? I can't help you, or, you need to go home and just rest. So one of the things that I learned I had to do was take brochures that I got from the Vasculitis Foundation with me, so that when I was going to the hospital with a flare, I could actually hand them to the doctor and say, and this is what I'm dealing with. So that's some of the frustrations I actually went through in my journey of trying to get people to listen and understand that this isn't in my head, that a number of disabilities are invisible, and that people need to really educate themselves on what these are so that they don't make judgments that are unfair. I am very blessed to have the continual support of my family, including my parents, my two children, and my husband. And I also have a support dog by the name of Scout. Scout seems to always recognize when I'm not feeling well, and Scout will come and lay beside me and stay with me until the flares will pass. I'm very grateful that I have that support because I know that some people feel like they don't have it. And that's why I'm advocating for those people who are really stuck to reach out to these support groups because there's tons of them out there. The Mighty deals with a number of issues, not just rare diseases, but people who developed anxiety and depression. And that has allowed me to kind of push out the idea that you can't lose hope and you need to really reach out to people for help. And it's not a sign of weakness. I have gotten involved with a number of support groups on Facebook that have allowed me to recognize the fact that I'm not alone in this journey. And I hope that in the future there'll be more developments so that my disease can become under control and I can kind of recapture some of the things that I used to love doing.